All right, if you're anything like me at all and you have been avoidant, your whole life or any part of your life, and you have avoided feelings, you really have to flip that on its head if you want to live and feel a more fulfilling and connected and grounded and um, fulfilling. I'll go back to that. If you want to live a more fulfilling life, you have to feel fully. It's what gets you connected. It's what gets you present. It's what this is all about. There's so much feeling here. So you don't want to avoid all of that because then you're living a life that is super turned down, and you don't want that. You want to live a life where you can feel as much as possible, where you can be connected as much as possible, when you can enjoy every experience as much as possible, you know? To me, that's the entire point because you're only going to be wherever you are, right? You're not going to be anywhere else. You can't possibly be where you aren't. And if you aren't feeling fully, you aren't able to feel the experience fully, you're not able to feel yourself fully, you're not able to experience the totality of your existence, right? So, my entire life, I just avoided all feelings like the fucking plague. I wouldn't feel anything. All feelings were too overwhelming for me. They were too much. This is why, even when I was younger, I became a drug addict for a while because I couldn't, as soon as I discovered, um, you know, as soon as I discovered drugs, it was the first thing that allowed me to like alter my consciousness and allow me to feel something other than myself, which at the time was like a godsend. It felt like because everything I was feeling was too much, and it always just like I was already avoiding it and just not able to feel it, in myself. I was just feeling too much, so I did those to like shut it off, and I did that for a long time. You know, um, all of the feelings were too much. Like the littlest thing just felt too massive, and I just was trying to either run inside myself or I would run to a substance or whatever it was to try to shut it off. I would numb myself however I could and not feel. And now I continuously keep finding day after day, year after year, more and more and more that it is the exact opposite of obviously of what I would like to be doing. It's even if the feelings still feel like a lot or whatever, and I find places in myself where I'm still unconsciously like avoiding them. When I can find those places and shed light on it and then become conscious of where I am avoiding it and then dive deeper into the feeling, it opens it up to a whole new dimension, and I feel more connected to myself, and I feel more whole, and I feel more present, and I feel more grounded, and I feel more alive, and I get to enjoy and feel the experience of wherever I'm at more fully. So this is the key again to this, is just feeling it more fully. And that can be tricky at times when you have only avoided things your entire life, right? And so I've mentioned this in other videos, but what I would encourage you to do is, if you are trying to feel more fully, is when you are aware of any place inside of yourself, or when you feel like you might be a little disconnected, or a little might be, a little dissociated or whatever, or might have a little split going on inside yourself, find a place where you feel like you might be avoiding. And way you can do this is if you can like really just get a felt sense of wherever you are, right? And like if you'll feel like a spot where you're like avoiding, right? And you need to, wherever that is, you need to turn, and not like physically, and maybe a little bit depending on like where you're orienting yourself to, but really it's like an energetic thing inside and a feeling sense, and you're going to turn and face it directly and then dive into it as fully as you can, but simultaneously opening to it, because you don't want to like dive in and like be closed. You want to dive in and be open to it, right? And in doing so, you're going directly into the feeling and you're opening to the totality of it to be able to feel it totally. and then you will be integrating it inside yourself. You're merging that feeling that you had split at some point in your life, that feeling at some point that you said was too much and you put away and avoided it. You're now diving in and integrating it and feeling it whole, in a more whole way. And like I said, integrating it back into you and merging with it so that you feel whole again. I keep saying that word over and over. But, and this is going to just be something that you're going to want to do over and over and over and over and over, because it's most likely not going to just be one feeling, right? It's not just going to be a one time, like, oh, I was avoiding one feeling and now I'm whole and total and I'm good. But that's not really it. That's not really the case, you know? At least it's definitely not been the case for me. But, and again, I've avoided everything my entire life up until about 7 years ago. So that's, you know, over 2 decades easily. Who knows the exact years? Doesn't matter. Easily over 2 decades of not feeling shit, right? Of not feeling anything. Because I'm sure I felt a lot when I was a child, but I just can't remember that. But you really just have to feel more if you want to live a more full life. Okay? It's the only way to live a more full life. Because all this other shit, right? Like, make this amount of money, have this career, have that to live a more fulfilling life. Yes, right? But usually people, I feel like, chase that first to get the feeling. It's really the opposite when you ask me. I feel like all of those are byproducts, right? And this is why, sort of, you know, like, usually law of attraction just pisses me off. But, like, this is in a way where they have a aspect of it correct, right? Because they're like, oh, feel the feelings. You just, like, feel yourself sitting inside a fucking Ferrari all day. I'm just going to sit and close my eyes and imagine myself I'm sitting inside a nice fucking red Ferrari, and then it's bound to come to me, because that's how the universe works. And the universe felt me feeling the Ferrari, the feelings I would feel inside that Ferrari. Yeah, real successful and amazing and like a Ferrari guy. And all of a sudden, like, I don't know how it's going to come, but it's going to come, and they're just going to show it and bring it on my fucking doorstep. And next, you know, I'm going to walk outside, and all of a sudden they'll be like, hey, by the way, I think this Ferrari is yours. Yeah, I don't know if there was like a mix up at the dealership, but it was just like signed for by the universe or something. So I don't know, here are your keys. That's not really how law of attraction works, right? And the way I mean with the dimension of it, looking at it like this, is this. So you feel everything, right, inside yourself already. That's how you have the most fulfilling life and the most fulfilling experience. It doesn't matter if you have like the career yet, or the car, or the job, or whatever. Like I'm saying, those are byproducts first or after feeling all of your feelings, right? Because if you feel and integrate all those things that you've been avoiding, let's just give an example, right? If you've been avoiding this one feeling, let's just maybe one example here, right? If you've been avoiding this one feeling your entire life, and let's say this feeling was the feeling of just I mean, this is very simple, but like, of responsibility, right? Every time something comes into your field where you are meant to be responsible, right? Or it brings up the energy of you, like where you would be responsible, you avoid that because something happened and you're responsible when you were young and blah, blah, blah. And you got, you know, it was terrible and you have responsible trauma or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but you avoided it, and now your entire life, any situation that arises again to try to get you to confront responsibility, you avoid. So that's why the word and all that shit doesn't matter about none of that matters. You know what I mean? Like, you have to figure out like the experience when you were younger of why you know what I mean? Because you're just getting a real tangible experience of the energy. That's why you don't need to know what it is, but now by feeling everything, something comes up, or there is like, you don't need to be responsible, and usually you avoid it, but this feeling comes up and you're just like, you don't know that it's about responsibility, but you feel something you want to avoid, you turn, you dive into it, you feel it fully, you integrate that part of yourself. What you're doing is, on a very deep subconscious level and consciously, you're signaling to yourself that you can handle that energy, and that is a part of you and that's normal and you can feel it fully. And then you become a responsible person. And now that you're a responsible person who doesn't shy away from the energy of responsibility, you become the person who takes these amount of, these steps and actions, blah, blah, blah. And who knows, maybe now you're getting, you know, these actions of responsibility lead you down the path of success, and now you have created a business and you are now driving that Ferrari that you bought. And it's not because you sat there every day for 30 minutes imagining yourself in a fucking Ferrari. It's because you felt everything that life was trying to present to you. And if it is in your deepest, most truest self at some layer to have that career or job or car or whatever, if you feel fully, you're going to get it if it's supposed to be yours, right? Because if you feel everything you're supposed to feel, you're going to get everything that is yours because it is your life. You are going to get everything that is yours. You're not going to get everything that is yours, though, if you're not feeling yourself and your life fully, because you're going to be dodging that, dodging this, avoiding this. Oh no, not that. Okay, so that's really it. You just got to feel it more fully. Okay, you got to feel it more fully, and that's how you get. It's how you. It's not. This isn't like fuck. You know what I mean? This isn't a way to get what you want. All right. I'm not trying to tell you a way you can get what you want. Like, do all this because then you'll get your Ferrari. Like, this isn't some roundabout secret way to try to hack the universe and try to, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to out trick the universe into getting some material object. Like, that's not the point of this. The point of this is to have a more fulfilling life and be more connected to yourself. And you won't even give a fuck if you're driving a old ass Camry or if you're driving a brand new Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like, no one, you won't give a shit. It'll be nice. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It'll be nice and you'll enjoy the fuck out of that Ferrari, but you'll be able to enjoy it way more because you will be feeling way more. You know what I mean? Would you rather be shut down in a Ferrari and not able to feel anything and just be like, well, I hope people think I'm cool. I think I'm cool. I hope. I think. I don't know. You know, maybe everyone will tell me how great I am enough, and then maybe I'll feel it. Or would you rather just actually be able to just like fully feel the whole situation? You know? So you tell me.